again, and welcome to another edition of Hot Flashes in the Pan. I'm Agnes, and today we're going to be preparing my ground meat mixture that I use as a base for a lot of other dishes like tacos and enchiladas, spaghetti sauce, shepherd's pie. You can use it as a base to a lot of dishes. I'm going to be using white ground turkey meat today, or you can use regular ground turkey meat, ground sirloin, lean ground beef, ground chuck, ground buffalo, whatever you want to use. But today we're going to be using a white ground turkey. Now this comes in 1 1/4 pound packs, so we're going to use 2, so that's 2.5 pounds. If you get the regular ground turkey, it usually comes in a 3-pound package. So whatever you want to buy, that's on sale. Now today we're going to be using my big old electric skillet that I've had for, probably about 30 years. It's a big, deep electric skillet. You can use a regular skillet, you can use electric skillet, or you can use a crock pot, whatever you feel that you would like to use, you know, whatever you have in your kitchen. And then we're going to first off, we're going to spray with some cooking oil. And we're going to take the turkey and we're just going to kind of mush it up in here. So that's one package. And the second package. And it's already ground up. And I'm going to put this on to heat on about boiling. And again, you just mush it up. Like that. Now, when I'm working with meat, raw meat, I like to wear these little disposable gloves because you don't want to have contamination between your meat and your vegetables while your meat is still raw. So I like to mush this up by using my gloves. And after that, after I've got it into the skillet, then I can just take the gloves off and throw them in the trash. And then my hands are clean for the next step. If you don't wear your gloves, you want to be sure you use soap and water and, you know, wash your hands off very well before you go into adding your vegetables. Now I like to get creative when I add my spices. What I've done is I've taken some of my fresh herbs from my patio garden, and today we're going to be using sage, and this is how it looks from the garden, and oregano, basil, and some rosemary. So what I've done earlier is I've taken all the leaves, I've washed them really well, taken all the leaves off, and then I've chopped them up into little pieces. And I've already chopped them up here, but basically I just take all the leaves and I just chop it with a chef's knife. I chop it one way and then I chop it the other way. And you just keep chopping it until you get enough in small pieces. And that's kind of what it looks like. So we're going to add this mixture of fresh herbs to our meat mixture. Put that in the sink. Also, I have already previously chopped up a whole one of these packages of celery. I like to use a lot of celery for seasoning. And I don't use any particular amount of herbs or celery. If I have a lot of basil out there, or a lot of oregano, or a lot of sage, I'll just kind of pick enough to suit my fancy. Now we're going to add this whole stalk of celery in, because this meat mixture is really going to turn out to be a big quantities, so you can divide it up into multiples. What we're going to do is, after it's all cooked, we're going to divide it into smaller freezer style Ziploc bags, and you can use the pint size or the quart size. Since it's just my husband and myself, I find it to use the quart size, about a half a quart, and flatten it out, and then I can use it to make spaghetti sauce, tacos, enchiladas, and whatever, and it's always ready for me. But I just take the time to make a large pot, and I try to put as much things in it as possible to add to the flavor and to add to the texture and add to it being a healthy meal. Now I'm going to let the meat cook for about 30-45 minutes, because we like to have our meat cooked really well done. And especially with turkey, you want to be sure that it's cooked, you know, all the way through. And after it's cooked pretty much, I'm then going to add, I have some reduced sodium pinto beans, and I have some reduced sodium black beans, and I'm going to add that to the meat mixture once it cooks down some, and that will add not only extra flavor and taste, but it'll also add extra fiber, so that'll be good, a good healthy meal. And it also helps to expand the quantity of your meat mixture so that you can have several more packages, especially if you have a large family. It helps, for a small amount of money, it helps to expand the meat mixture. Now besides that, we don't really use salt. I use this stuff called Mrs. Dash. I'm going to put some of that in there, and I'm going to put some pepper to give it some flavor. Or if you want to use salt, you can use salt, but we don't usually use many salt. And just to give it a little bit of kick, I think I'm going to add some of this Creole seasoning. I'm just going to sprinkle that on the top. And if you remember from one of our previous videos, we pre-cut our onions. And I've taken them out of the freezer, and you can see they're kind of defrosting here. And what I've done is, while they were still frozen, if you can also thaw them out, but if you don't have time to thaw them out, all you have to do is give them a good whack on the counter, and that breaks them up. But these have kind of thawed out a little bit. Now this is about 2 big onions, so I'm not sure, I don't know if I want to use the whole package. I might just use half the package, and that would be a full onion. And we did our peppers the same way. We froze them, and then again, you can just do this here. You can just whack them on the counter, and that breaks them up. Now this was 3 large bell peppers, but we don't want to use this whole package. So what we want to do is use maybe half or a third. And then you can just put these back in the freezer and save them for other meals. But again, after they're like this, you want to flatten them out so that they will stay flat in the freezer and take up less room. Okay, so we've got our peppers and our Mrs. Dash and our onions and our green peppers, and we're going to let all those seasonings kind of cook down on top of the meat. But now you're going to have to come back in here every so often and break up this meat and stir it up and get it up off the bottom so it won't burn. But we're going to let this cook, since it's a pretty full pot, I'm going to let this cook about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. And I want to make sure that I've turned it several times to get the turkey cooked all the way through. And then we're going to add our beans, and we're going to cook that for maybe about another 15 minutes. And then it will be ready to divide up into the smaller packages. And that's all there is to it. So if you already have your peppers and your onions already pre-chopped up, like when we discussed getting them as soon as you get them home from the store. It really makes for a quick assembly. As you can see, that didn't take long at all to assemble. So you can put this in your crock pot and turn it on and just let it cook all day if you want while you're at work, and then it'll be done when you get back. Or if you're coming home from work and you put it on then, you can put it on, go play with the kids, you know, put this on for about 30-45 minutes, go play a game with your children, come back, and dinner will be ready. Okay? So, we're going to see you on our next video where the meat mixture will be completed. Let me show you how this looks. So you can see how pretty that is. But it's all going to cook down. And you can get real creative on the different seasonings you put in it. I didn't put any garlic in it, but if you like garlic, you can put garlic in it. You can put some A1 sauce, Worcestershire sauce, just anything to spice it up. But I like to use the fresh herbs. That really seems to give it a nice flavor. So we're going to see you on our next video. And at that time, we'll have the meat mixture finished, and I'll show you how we divide it up. We make stuffed bell peppers, make spaghetti sauce, and other things. And in the meantime, I'm going to be putting a lot of information about the different meats and their nutritional values and prices and things like that, so you can use that as a comparison. So look on our blog, lottidaladies.com, and when you get done, you'll have a mighty tasty meal for your family. Bye-bye now.